Here's the deal. You and your friends hit up GameStop. In the corner of your eye, you see it. Super Mario Party. But who do you play? Well, that's what I'm here to tell you, as I'm going to give you the knowledge of the Super Mario Party tier list. I have analyzed each of the characters' special dice blocks to determine who is truly the best. On screen, I have an example of what each character analysis will consist of. I know, it looks confusing, but let me explain. Each analysis will consist of the following information. At the top will of course be the character's name. Underneath that will be their rank and what tier I think they are in, since this is a tier list after all. Under that is the description of the character's dice block, with the outcomes ranked in ascending order. For all intents and purposes, any result that changes coins was counted as a 0, since the character will move 0 spaces and land on whatever space they were on before the roll. Pluses naturally mean the character gains coins from that result, and minuses mean the character loses that many coins. Next is the average roll. What this rank is saying is the average number of spaces the character would move per turn if they were only using their special block. There's also a ranking associated with this as well. This is to tell you who has a better average roll compared to other characters. Finally is definitely the most confusing part, and that is the variance at the bottom. To calculate variance, we use this formula. If this terrifies you, don't ever become an econ major in college. To put it simply, the variance is the character's X factor. The larger this number is, the less consistent their roll. A character with a low variance has fairly consistent rolls that will give you outcomes you can more or less predict. If that still doesn't make sense, I put a ranking there as well, and just know that the higher the variance ranking, the more consistent their rolls are. The first lowest ranking will be the most consistent, and the 20th lowest ranking is the least consistent. Alright, I've gone on long enough. It's time I finally go over what I personally believe is the Super Mario Party tier list. Starting at the bottom, we have the Goomba. The reason I put the Goomba at the bottom is because his dice block doesn't give him anything special. He trades his 1 and 2 move options for the opportunity to gain coins, which, I'm gonna keep it real with you, earning coins is not a good thing. What truly makes a character good is their ability to move. You cannot get the star by not moving, so really anything that gives you coins is effectively as bad as anything that takes them away. Goomba also has the second lowest movement ranking at moving only 3 spaces per turn if he were to use his block, with a 1/3 chance to not even move at all. I think it's pretty clear to see why Goomba is definitely at the bottom. No opportunities to move more than normal, and the fact that he might not even move at all sometimes. Right above Goomba is Monty Mole with the higher average movement, putting him in a 7-way tie for 4th place and having the 5th lowest variance, making him pretty consistent, but given his dice block options, that's not that impressive. Essentially all he does is trade his 1 for a 0, and that just makes him effectively worse than rolling an average dice. If you want to get a 0, there are other characters that have better chances of that, but in my opinion, 0 is not a good thing to roll. You always want to roll fat, and Monty just simply doesn't have that power. Rounding out E tier, we have Donkey Kong. This might be one of the more questionable placements on this list, but I feel like it's justified given his variance. DK has the highest variance of any character by far, and that's because he has simply 2 options. A 1 1/3 chance to move 10 spaces, and a 2/3 chance to sit on his ass and eat a banana. Simply put, this isn't that good. It's not reliable, it doesn't give you any extra movement really, and you're better off just rolling on average because there are other characters with higher averages than him that have more consistent dice blocks. If you want to gamble on the 1 and 3 to get a 10, go right ahead. However, in my opinion, this ape isn't getting anywhere fast. While E tier consisted of the characters whose dice blocks were worse than the regular one in my opinion, D tier consists of what I like to call the 1-pump chumps. The 1-pump chumps all have mediocre or subpar rolls in Yoshi's case, and a 1 in 6 chance of rolling something that even the regular dice roll can't provide. In Yoshi's case, it's only a 7. While the 7 is nice, that's contrasted by the fact that he has a 2 1/3 chance of rolling 3 or fewer spaces. His average movement ranking puts him at 5th, which is the 3rd lowest in the game, and he's the only character with this. I have an asterisk next to his variance ranking because it's very similar to Goomba and another characters on this list, to the point where they might as well be identical, meaning Yoshi has a very consistent chance of not rolling that much, hence why I put him at the bottom of D tier. Next is unfortunately Rosalina. You'd think that this world's equivalent of essentially God would have something better than this for her special dice block. Rosalina is tied for dead last in terms of movement ranking, having an average movement of less than 3 spaces per turn. Her variance ranking is somewhat high though, which does offset her low averages. She has a 1 in 6 chance of rolling an 8, which is pretty good and one of the higher options in the game. However, she has a 1 in 3rd chance of rolling a 0 and a 1/2 chance of getting something from the regular dice block. Her having an 8 is nice, but not nice enough to put her any higher than this. Rounding out the last of the 1-pump chumps, we have the grower, not shower, Koopa. A lot of people have seen Koopa's dice block and deemed it as terrible, and I'm not gonna lie, yeah, it's pretty bad. Having a 5 in 6 chance of rolling 3 or fewer spaces is bad, but compared to Yoshi and Rosalina, at least he's guaranteed to move with his dice block. His average movement is definitely higher than the other two, and the fact that once in a blue moon Koopa can roll a 10 is something I do have to respect, which is why he's at the top of D tier. Next we begin C tier, which honestly just has characters that aren't good enough to be B tier, but aren't bad enough for D tier. Here we have Bowser Jr., who has a very subpar dice block. His average movement ranks him at 4th, and he has some of the highest variance in the game because of his 9. However, without the 9, he's got rather subpar movement with a 1/2 chance to go 1 space. Sure, the 4s are nice to offset that, and the 9 is pretty good, but he's still gonna move 1 space half the time, which is why I put him down at 14th. Next up is a Hammer Bro, and I feel some people might question why I have him here above Bowser Jr. Simply put, his consistency is something you can depend on, as he has the 7th lowest variance in the game. However, he's tied with Rosalina for having the worst overall movement in the game, and that's because of his +3 coins, giving him effectively a 0 in his rolls. But it's not all bad, as he does have a 1/2 chance in moving 5 spaces, and if you get lucky with those coin flips, it's one of the better outcomes. Overall, his consistency is outclassed by higher tier characters, which is why I put him down here. Next is the titular character himself, Mario. Mario finally ushers in the wave of characters with average movements who have a 3.5, which is very nice. He also has the 3rd lowest variance in the game, making him very consistent, as you can see by his 3 3s in his dice block. It's not bad, but it's also nothing special, which is why he's down here. The 3 3s are consistent, but they don't do anything special for him. B tier is the tier of consistency, as all characters in this tier will have either 3 or 4 options that produce the same outcome with a little bit of variance thrown in there. Pom Pom's variance comes from the fact that she can roll an 8 and a 0 alongside 4 3s. Not bad, but it is outclassed by other characters in this tier, hence why I have her at the bottom. Right above Pom Pom, we have Peach. The only reason Peach is above Pom Pom is because her consistency is better. Pom Pom's variance was roughly 7th, 8th, and 9th, considering she had the asterisk next to it, comparing her to Goomba and Yoshi. Peach is in the top 5 as she has the 4th lowest variance in the game. As you can see, it's pretty consistent as none of her rolls go beyond the standard limits, but she does have a good chance of rolling a 4, and she does have a 2 and a 6 thrown there for a bit of extra push. The 0 does bring her down a bit somewhat, so she's not as good as she can be as other characters in this tier. Daisy. Oh boy. I know some people are going to say she's the best character in the game or top tier, but I'm going to push against that because while she does have the lowest variance in the game because she has only 2 options she can roll with her dice, very good movement, and high consistency, she doesn't get anything past that. Sure, you can get a guaranteed 3 or 4 with her, but you don't get to move past a 6 if you use the regular block. Other characters that are higher up have very good odds of rolling more than what the standard dice gives them, which is why I feel they're higher than Daisy. If you feel Daisy is higher up in the tiers because of her consistency, it makes complete sense. I just don't think she's better because other characters, in my opinion, have better potential than her. Now, take everything I said about Daisy and apply it to Shy Guy. Another contender for top tier in many people's opinions because of the fact that he has a virtually guaranteed 4. However, he doesn't get anything past that, like I said with Daisy. Basically, the two characters are interchangeable in terms of ranking, and I feel that since Shy Guy does have a better chance of rolling a 4, it's just that pesky 0 that lowers his average movement. Aside from that, he's definitely a solid pick. Next, we move into what I consider A tier, which consists of characters that have very good chances of winning coin flips that give them higher than average rolls. You may consider swapping A tier and B tier in your own list, but I feel that these characters' potential is what puts them above the characters in B tier. In Waluigi's case, he has a 1/2 chance of getting a 5, 5, or a 7, which is not bad and is definitely better than the other characters that have consistent options in B tier. Sure, he does have the 0 and the 1, but it's offset by the fact that he does have a very good chance of getting a high roll. His variance is middle of the road, meaning that your coin flips will work out half the time, which is what you would expect from a character like this. It just so happens that his coin flips are weighted to be even better than the other characters in B tiers. Rising up, we have Drybones, who in my opinion is just a better version of Hammer Bro. He doesn't have any zeros, and instead of having 5s be his coin flip option, he has 6s instead, which is very good. His average movement is the 3rd highest, and something I'll say that from here on out, variance is a bit deceptive. Higher variances are good here because it means that these characters' coin flip returns are much higher, which is something we're definitely looking for. Trust me, you're gonna see that come into play with other characters. Overall, just compared to Waluigi has 2 5s and a 7, Drybones has 3 6s. It's overall better to have Drybones since he's more consistent and does have better returns more often than not. While Waluigi does sit at the bottom of A tier, Luigi and Drybones are virtually interchangeable. The only real difference between these characters is that instead of having triple 6s like Drybones, Luigi has a 5 6 7 in his options for his top roll, and his variance is slightly higher as a result of this. All in all, the two are basically the same. You can put them in whatever order you like. Next is the Gatekeeper, Diddy Kong. While the last 3 entries had relatively equal variances, Diddy's is trying to match up with the big boys as he has the 3rd highest variance in the game, but it actually works out in his case unlike DK, considering he does have triple 7s he can bank on. This is a pretty good movement option, and in terms of averages, it puts him high up there. In my opinion, just because his coin flip is so good, he has to be at the top of A tier, but he's not good enough to be S tier, as you'll see now. All S tier characters have an option where they lose coins, and as I've said, that is bad, but it doesn't harm them enough to justify these incredibly overpowered blocks. Wario has a 1/3 chance of losing 2 coins, but 2/3 of the time, he can roll a 6. As you can see here, this gives him and 2nd place, which are interchangeable, the 2nd best movement in the game. Only these 2 characters have this much power, and I only put Wario slightly below this as you can guess. The next character, which I'll just talk about now, Boo, has 5s and 7s instead of 6s across the board like Wario does. These 2 characters are simply beyond powerful. They have incredibly good odds of rolling high, and when they do roll low, it's not a big enough penalty to really hurt aside from the lack of movement. If there was an S+ tier, it would go to Bowser. Honest to God, Bowser is broken in this game. His movement options are incredible. Yeah, he loses 3 coins 1/3 of the time. No one cares about that though. His average movement is bar none the best in the game by a long shot. If you want to prove you're the superstar, you play Bowser. His dice rolls give you unparalleled movement compared to anyone else. Boo and Wario can try to keep up with him, but it's futile. Bowser will cover way more ground, and in longer games, the difference will show. You want to win games? You need to play Bowser. And that's gonna do it for my tier list. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, who you would move around, how you would shift around the tiers, and any little changes like that. With that all being said, hope you guys are enjoying this game. I had a bit of fun with it playing with my friends, and I hope you guys do as well. Alright, peace!